Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janey Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi and welcome to the podcast. I hope you're well. Whatever's going on for you, it's not the easiest of times, is it? And I'm still freezing cold, teeth still chattering, boiler still not fixed. I did get to go away, so that I got a little bit of heat, but hopefully it's going to be fixed soon. If it isn't, then I'm going to need some invitations for Christmas, but I do come with 4 kids. Hope that's all right. So that's a tough one. And also the really sad news that the Sobriety Breakthrough event has been cancelled. I won't be sharing anything that you don't already know. If you book tickets, you will have had an email. Oh, so disappointed. I was literally putting together my slides and my presentation for that event. Really looking forward to that on the 2nd of Jan. And I really feel for Simon Chappell and his team who've worked so hard to pull that together. And it's just such a shame they've had to cancel. I guess they feel that with new restrictions, it's just going to make it really tricky. I know they had some people obviously coming from abroad, so just such a shame. So hopefully it will get rescheduled. That does mean that I will now do some kind of online event because I love doing something to kind of kickstart, help motivate people for the new year. So I'll do something on either the 1st or the 2nd of January. So watch this space on that one. And hopefully you'll be able to join me. Our Champneys retreat is still going ahead, I'm hoping. January the 8th, we do still have spaces. It's January the 8th at Tring in Hertfordshire. And it's a really lovely weekend. It doesn't matter what stage you're at. You might be sober curious. You might have been sober for years and years. It doesn't matter. It's all about focusing on living your best life, focusing on self-care. So I really hope you might be able to have a look at that. If you just go to thesoberclub.com, click on events, you'll find it there. Also, our Constellations event, which is Sunday, 23rd of January, Family Constellations. Very difficult thing to just describe in one sentence, but have a listen to the podcast I did with Mark Wolin a few weeks ago and have a read of some of the stuff on the Sober Club. It's obviously not specifically around drinking, of course. It's around, getting to grips with what inherited family trauma might mean or what childhood stuff might mean for you. I've personally found it just so incredibly helpful on so many levels. You don't have to be someone who is walking around traumatized to benefit from Family Constellations. It can really be the most amazing day and totally life-changing, just to kind of just to understand the human condition, if you like, just to become more compassionate. You really do leave feeling more kind, I think, and more open-hearted. And what else to tell you about date-wise while I'm on that? In February or March, and I still haven't quite firmed up dates, I'm going to be hosting another cohort, if you like, of my Sober Club accredited coaches training program. I did the first one in October. You might have seen some of the badges appearing because our first cohort have completed their training. Is so brilliant to see the work that they're doing. Some of them already out there. We spoke to Annika on the podcast last week, and it's just great that more people are doing this work now. More people are spreading this message. Most of you know that I've said a lot of times, that what held me back for so many years was going to see therapists, going to see practitioners, healers, GPs, whatever, for whatever, and sometimes mentioning that, okay, I'm a bit worried about my drinking, and no one ever knew. Well, didn't know how to help me, but they didn't even know where to signpost me. They didn't even know that there was anything on offer other than AA for if you're at rock bottom. Nobody seemed to know that there is this whole community of people, that there is this phenomena of grey area drinking, of this sliding scale. And trust me, you don't want to be anywhere on that booze elevator. Nobody ever said, well, wow, good for you. You've identified it. Let me put you in touch with someone from the Sober Club or a sober coach or whatever. So hopefully the more people that train in this work, and my approach is very much around fine-tuning yourself and around really getting to grips with how you can help people from a holistic perspective. So it's not just an online course of stop drinking. It's fully around self-care and all the rest of it. So anyways, that's not going to be appropriate for a lot of you, but if it is, get in touch. And obviously there is if coaching is something that you need, know that it's available and know that it can make the most massive difference to you. Somebody in the Sober Club the other day referred to me as the emergency service. Oh, please, no, I can't deal with that. But it is a little bit like that within the Sober Club. We just get people pop up sometimes and just say, help, I just really need help absolutely now. And to that end, I've got a great interview that we did with Joe Creed from Beyond NLP on how not to hit the fuck it button, particularly across Christmas time. So I'll be bringing that to you as well. On that note of Christmas, let's just run through some of the basics again, because in the Sober Club, we do a lot around this. But if you are newly sober, or perhaps this is your first Christmas without booze, or maybe you've just this last couple of days made the decision, fantastic decision, then really, prep ahead for your Christmas. It all comes down to the preparation. You've heard me say it a million times, but you absolutely have to decide what is it you want and why do you want it. That's the first thing. You have to know the why. It's hopeless just saying, oh, I really ought to stop drinking. Oh, I know it's not good for me. You really do need to know the why. It might help you to remember, by the way, just while we're on this note, that there really are no benefits to alcohol. Let's just put that one to bed, shall we? Because I'm so fed up with the link between alcohol and Christmas and being glamorous and having fun. It's actually nonsense. And there was a piece in The Guardian, I think it came out last week, and actually was a little bit hidden. It didn't seem to get the press that a lot of articles get, but it was about Britain's drinking deaths across the pandemic. And it says here, I'll just see if I can find a little bit from it. It said Britain's lockdown drinking habits may have had fatal consequences. Deaths caused by alcohol in 2020 increased by almost 19%. That's the biggest rise since records began. That's absolutely shocking, absolutely shocking. It says here, the number of people drinking more than 14 units a week increased after the first national lockdown. Well, you don't say. And of course, with pubs shut, drinking at home soared, with off-license sales of beer rising 31%, spirits 26% compared with 2019. This is just awful. They're saying 8 out of 10 of the deaths were from alcoholic liver disease. And although alcohol-related cirrhosis can take a decade or more to develop, most deaths occur as a result of an acute on chronic liver failure owing to recent alcohol intake. Now, you read these kinds of articles and they are shocking. They really are shocking. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible that in this day and age, with the help available to us, with the focus on mental health and well-being, in the fact that we're meant to have been in the last couple of years is meant to be about a health crisis, right? A health crisis. How can we allow this to go completely unnoticed? It's literally shocking. It really, really is. However, the interesting piece about this is, as again, as I've said so many times, there'll be an awful lot of people see that study, but their attitude will be, oh, I'm not that bad. Thank goodness I'm not that bad. I'm not about to die. I'm not about to get liver disease. Well, maybe not. But how about you're somewhere on that booze spectrum and you might get some other kind of illness that as it says in that piece, can take years to develop. Why would you want to live anything other than in optimum health and well-being? If you're just trapped by something that has no benefits, right? I mean, I laugh because now I can see it so clearly. It's easy, but of course it wasn't like that for me. 4.5 years ago, if you'd have said any of this to me, I'd have said, but I can't stop. But I'm one of those people who can't stop. Everyone else can. Everyone else seems to be fine. It's just me. There's something wrong with me. I genuinely believe that. And when you can really start to grasp, okay, there are millions of us in this position who have who were grey area drinkers. But you know what? There is a way out. You can get out the alcohol trap. You definitely need support. You definitely need preparation, which takes me back to where I was. Sorry, I went off on a complete tangent there. Preparation, right. So absolutely zero benefits to alcohol. So really bear that in mind. Okay, see if you can literally recognize that the emperor is not wearing any clothes. Okay, zero clothes. And then start to think about, what kind of Christmas do you want? Focus on what you want. You want to be fully present. Really use that word carefully. Do you want to be fully present with your family or with your friends, or for Christmas Day, whatever it is you do on Christmas Day and the whole festive season? And if you do, visualize yourself having fun. Visualize yourself talking to family, talking to friends, being on Zoom, being on the phone, going out, being with the kids, whatever it is you do, whatever it is for you. Maybe you volunteer for a charity. Whatever you do across the festive season, visualize yourself happy, confident, fully present, without booze. See if you can visualize yourself in that setting. And if you can, then you can ask yourself, okay, what do I need to do? What prep do I need to do? And absolutely, definitely, you will need to give people a heads up. If you're going to be seeing friends and family, give them a heads up, give them a call, give them a text, and just say, I'm not drinking. And as I've said a lot, you can, of course, fib, lie to your heart's content. Everyone lies to us. I think we know that now. But, say whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter, whatever gets you through it. If you're driving, of course, perfect excuse. You might just want to say, listen, I'm not drinking. Please support me. Best way you can support me is just, don't make a big thing of it, please. I'm good. Let people know that you're okay. And absolutely don't allow sober shamers to sober shame you. It's just not acceptable. Just don't allow it. Just change the subject. Go armed with plenty of conversation starters. Absolutely make your home welcoming, make your space welcoming and comforting. Have something nice to do and something nice to eat. And of course, something nice to drink. And, I'm going to say it again, keep the ritual, change the ingredients, becoming like a stuck record now. That's my chair creaking, by the way, in case you thought something else was going on. Keep the ritual, change the ingredients. Now, that is the perfect introduction to my next guest, because I'm talking about the fact that, people are drinking more at home, and with new restrictions coming into place, maybe that will happen again. But you know what? The word drink does not have to mean alcohol. It is perfectly possible to have a fantastic grown-up drink. And now you can even buy it from an alcohol-free off license. And that's what we're going to be talking about, an alcohol-free pop-up shop, I should say. So my guest is Laura Willoughby. Enjoy. So pleased, my guest is Laura Willoughby from Club Soda. Welcome, Laura. I haven't seen you in such a long time. How are you?
I know. I think that's because it's been a pandemic, Janey, and nobody's seen anybody.
I know. And I miss all the mindful drinking festivals and all the fabulous things that you do. Just tell us a bit about your work for anyone who isn't aware of your work yet. And then we'll talk about your latest fabulous project.
Yeah, so we're Club Soda. We're a mindful drinking movement. We help you change your drinking, whether you're cutting down, stopping for a bit, or quitting. We use behaviour change science. We've done lots of research behind what we do in terms of our programs and our behaviour change techniques. So you can do all sorts of courses with us, including a free one. And then we also focus quite a bit on one particular behaviour change technique, which is substitution, which is when you substitute one habit for another. And with the new wave of alcohol-free drinks becoming ever more present, we're doing a lot more to help connect you with drinks that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was what was such a game changer for me when I first stopped drinking. I first came across the work that you guys do. I came to a mindful drinking festival and just was blown away. I had no idea at that point, there were about 30 different alcohol-free beers. Of course, there's loads more now.
I know, and it's amazing.
Yeah, the change is incredible.
Yeah, I gave up 10 years ago and there was nothing there. So it's 10 years ago in May next year. And there was nothing. And then by the time you came along, Janey, I remember when you first came, and then there was a few alcohol-free drinks. And there was like Heineken Zero on tap and stuff like that. And now it's just gone mental.
Yeah, it really has. So you've got this fabulous new project of a shop where we can actually buy alcohol-free drinks. But again, just before we talk about that, I know there will be some people listening who are quite new to it all, and they're still in that kind of mindset that, oh, hold on a minute, if I have a replacement drink, in inverted commas, surely that's going to trigger me for the real thing. So can you just help us with that and just put that one to bed for us?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not automatically the case that a drink that mimics an alcoholic drink that you drank will trigger you. So that's the first thing to say. If it does, clearly steer clear, and you won't want to drink that. But it's also worth saying that a lot of the alcohol-free drinks in this space don't mimic any particular drink. We can talk a bit about that as well. And so you may decide that you like a 3 Spirit. It doesn't taste like anything you've had before, but it definitely feels like it fills that treat moment for you. And I think at the bottom line, if we're really thinking about it, all these are drinks, and they're drinks designed for adults and an adult palate. And generally, they're all designed to have less sugar in as well, because as grown-ups, we want less sugar. Whereas actually, if you're knocking back the Cokes and the lemonades and the Fantas and the Tangos once you've given up drinking, all you're doing is hitting your pleasure centers with sugar instead of alcohol. That can also be quite triggering. So you need to not see this as faking it, or as something being triggering, or seeing that you're breaking your dry January if you have an alcohol-free drink, and just recognize that these are just drinks. And I think what's quite amusing for me is I never drank beer when I was an alcohol drinker, but now that I'm alcohol-free, I find beer is something that I sip and drink quite slowly. And so there are some beers, not every beer, but I definitely like, the Big Drop Citra IPA, and some of those I really enjoy having out, particularly with a meal, because I drink them slower, and then next to water, they're the healthiest thing that you can drink in the pub anyway. So it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think, what you mentioned there about trying different drinks. I mean, when I was drinking, it was a glass of wine and that was it. I had even when my husband used to say, I think I'll try a cocktail. I'm like, why would you want to do that? My addictive one drink.
I know. Well, it takes far too long to make a cocktail, doesn't it, Janey?
Exactly.
We were like, what's the quickest route from glass to mouth? Wine it will be.
But it makes you so much more adventurous, and you can actually taste, great drinks. And because of Club Soda, because of mindful drinking festivals, I've become so much more aware of great drinks and kombuchas and goodness knows what else, and amazing cocktails without any alcohol.
And for me, they're not things that I drink all day, every day. They are things that I drink, when I want a treat, when I want something special, when I want to feel included as part of the crowd, and that I've got something that fits the occasion. I'll take a bottle of sparkling to a party. I sometimes occasionally will have a beer in the evening. And that's brilliant, because I'm doing something different. It's about changing my pace of my day and creating a different experience for me. And so, don't underestimate that you still want to treat and reward yourself.
Absolutely.
But you can do it with something else. And that something else doesn't also have to be chocolate, which is what I did when I first gave up drinking.
Yeah. Well, it's so true. As humans, we seek pleasure, don't we? And we want to reward, in inverted commas, at the end of a busy day. And our unconscious mind tells us that alcohol will provide us with that. So we absolutely need to, to have something else that feels grown up. So to that end, then, as you say, take a bottle of something if you're going to someone's house or whatever. In fact, you taught me very early on, take more than you need, because other people will nick your
man. Well, it's important to know that the biggest purchasers of alcohol-free drinks are not people like us, Janey, who are going teetotal and don't drink anymore. It's people who do drink. Everybody's wanting to reduce the amount they drink, and they're using alcohol-free drinks to mix it up a bit and to pace an evening. And so people are taking them with them to parties, and people do want something interesting. And it comes back to that thing that we've always said, right? Which is that if there had been something more interesting at parties, we may have paced ourselves a bit better to begin with. Yeah. And so the drinkers at a party are no different. If you give them something interesting, they are more likely to switch between drinks, and that's healthier for everybody. Yeah. And also not just healthier, but that means that the market for alcohol-free drinks is far bigger, which means that people are making more products. There's more things for us to try. So we're all winning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the rise in the choice of drinks has just been incredible, off the scale. And obviously, that this is a growing market, because otherwise the big guys wouldn't be doing it alongside the artisan guys, right?
Absolutely.
The huge brands, the Heinekens and the Gordons are there alongside some of these amazing kooky little artisan brands. So clearly it's a massively growing industry. So tell us about your fabulous new venture. Such a cool idea.
So rather than a festival in January, we've decided to open up a shop for 7 weeks. It actually opens on Monday, the 13th of December. So just before Christmas, all the way through to the end of January. And we have got over 70 brands in there. We've been filling the shelves like nobody's business over the last couple of days. We've got a spirit section, a wine section, a craft soda section, a beer section. We've got beer on draft, so you can come in and sample. And just like our festival, it's not, you're not just coming in to look at the pretty bottles and take away something you like the look of. You will be able to sample the product in the store and decide what you want to take home. I'm constantly having to remind people that we would have brought alcohol that we had never even tried before because it had alcohol in. But when it comes to alcohol free, we all need to try and find the right thing for us. And our goal is to navigate you through that journey in our alcohol free off license.
Yeah, amazing. So it's in London. It's on Great Portland Street. So does it work literally like a regular shop? What are your opening hours?
It does. So we're opening from 11 to 6 on a Sunday, 11 to 6 during the week, and then Thursday, Friday and Saturday we open later. There's lots of information on joinclubsoda.com if people want to have a look on there. It's right at the top of the menu, the alcohol-free off license with all the opening times. We've also been running masterclasses during the pop-up. So Camille Vidal will be running some cocktail masterclasses, and we've got some beer masterclasses, and me and Christine Parkinson are running a wine and wine occasion masterclass, which, as you may know, that we now have a wine club.
Oh no, I didn't know that. Fantastic.
So we do a monthly box of alcohol-free wines and wine occasion drinks, and we take people through them. There's now far more on the market than there was, and we want to be able to navigate people around what's good and what they can take with them when they go to a party and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah. So we'll be doing some very special wine sessions during the month as well. And then different brands are coming to do ambassador in residence. They're coming to, you can come and meet the makers. So Big Drop and Crodino and Kohlhauser Beer. And who else? We've got Sea Arch, we've got The Muse. They're all coming, and they're all going to be popping up in the shop, and you can come and speak to the makers, try some cocktails that they may make, have more of a serve, and just take some time. We're not going to be rushing you out the shop. We want you to enjoy.
Yeah. You mentioned wines there, and as you say, that is a market that's grown. The alcohol-free fizz has always been kind of, an easy win, but the wines can sometimes be harder. Have you actually found a red wine that you like? I don't know if you want to name names, but just a yes or no if not.
Wow.
Because in the Sober Club, that's always the question that new members ask me.
Janey, you need to bring the Sober Club to the wine tastings with me and Christine. They're on the website. Have a look, and then let me know if there's a gang of you who want to come. We'll sort something out. Yeah. But basically, yes, there are some new wines. Naughty have got a new red out, as have
they? Amazing! I didn't know that.
Coming out any moment now. It's coming out, and Oddbird, their red wine is amazing.
Oh, great!
But I'm beginning to realise now that really some of how you perceive alcohol-free drinks, and particularly in the wine space, does depend on your proximity to alcohol. So if you're still drinking, full strength alcoholic red wine, and you're looking to drink something that isn't alcoholic, then you will definitely notice the difference between, because there is a big drop in ABV. But like me, if you've not drank alcoholic red wine for a while, then the new alcohol-free reds that are coming onto the market are amazing. They've got the right taste profile. They are literally delicious. We've tasted some really delicious reds over the last few months. And so things are beginning to change. And what I want to do is to be able to teach people to taste them. You do need to learn to taste again. Your taste buds have been smashed by alcohol for so long that, being able to take some time, do a tutored tasting, be taken through the products, learn about the provenance and the grapes and how it's been made, definitely changes the way you perceive and feel about a drink. So Janey, absolutely. we must talk about bringing your gang
I'd love
along.
to do that. Yeah, I'd love to do that. I mean, at the moment, I just kind of, particularly in winter, I just recommend that everyone has alcohol-free mulled wine, because it's hard to beat that on a cold day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's good to know.
I think we'll have some mulled 9 elms in the shop in the lead up to Christmas, which is a lovely drink.
Yeah,
and again,
brilliant.
Sometimes the answer to your question around what to drink during that wine occasion isn't a wine. It might be something else that's been created specifically for that moment.
Yeah, exactly. Have you got kombuchas in the shop?
We do. There'll be real kombucha. We've got 9 elms. We'll be able to take you through all of those. We've actually got a full wine section, which really excites me because I wasn't sure we would get there. But I know your listeners in particular are like my, it's our age group, Janey, are very interested in wine. Wine sales are going up, but alcohol-free wine is still one of the most searched for terms. And I think, we've got the answer in the shop.
Yeah, perfect. And then again, because, often I have new listeners who are just literally coming into all of this, do you mind just once again running us through the ABV thing, the 0.5 thing? Just explain it for us again.
All of these drinks are between alcohol for drinks are 0 to 0.5, and across the world, 0.5 is that dividing line really. And we don't need an alcohol license, for example, for our shop because everything is 0.5 or below.
Perfect.
There's some strange historic wording in the UK, which means in theory still some of our products can't be called alcohol free, but that will be about to change. But 0.5, 0.5% of alcohol is sort of naturally occurring amount of alcohol. You probably find it in most of the foods you eat every day. You can drink 0.5% beer all evening and still be able to drive home. You'll find it in vinegars and all sorts. So you're not breaking a dry January if you drink a 0.5% drink. You're not breaking your sobriety if you do that. What you're doing is, there are many soft drinks on the market that have just as much trace elements of alcohol in as that. They just don't have to put it on the label. But that's
the labelling thing is confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, even now it does drive me bonkers that you go in a supermarket and buy a 0.5 alcohol-free wine, but they still have to check you. Well, not in my case, they don't have to check your age.
Well,
but if one of my sons goes in for it, they do.
Yeah, well, the industry's actually got a very different view on this, which is they want to be in the beer, wine and spirits aisles because they're designed for adults. And if they're in those aisles, then they will come under the age ID of supermarkets because nobody wants to lose their license. But the other thing that's really interesting for all of us, if we want to keep these drinks for us to enjoy, is that the government will not be very happy if they are considered to be alibi marketing, which is that they are really trying to get young people to drink them, to get them used to the taste of beer. And nobody wants to be accused of that. So, I think all in all, that these are drinks for adults. It doesn't matter that we're age ID'd for them, even though they don't have alcohol in them. That's fine.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And what about the sugar content then? Because, another thing that's often levelled is, you're actually having more sugar. But I don't think that's the case, is it, with majority of alcohol-free drinks?
A majority of alcohol-free drinks are either sugar-free or have less sugar in them. They also don't have the alcohol calories in them, right, people? And they're not going to make you eat a Kentucky Fried Chicken the next day because you've got a hangover. So, if you start to use all these as got more sugar in as an excuse not to drink them, then what you're basically saying is all you can possibly drink when you're not drinking is water, because, soft drinks have lots of sugar in them. Funnily enough, alcohol-free wines are likely to be higher in natural sugars because they often, they have to really backfill the flavour after they've de-alkalized the wine, and often there is grape juice put back in. So they will have higher levels of sugar in them. But again, nothing like alcohol would do to your blood sugar levels. And nothing that would mean that you don't get up and go to the gym the following morning. So it's all about working out, my view on sugar when you're giving up drinking is it's actually your friend. Because if you have something, if you're getting a craving for a drink and you have something sugary instead, it normally quells that craving, and at least it won't stop you doing anything else, like sorting out your kids for school in the morning or driving or any of those things. So don't make the bad be the enemy of the good in this case. And so give yourself a little bit of leniency and allow yourself sugary drinks in moderation. But you'll find a lot of the alcohol-free drinks are very low in sugar and designed that way. Yeah,
fantastic. So the shop opens in December, runs through to the end of January. Is that right?
Yes, and you can find it on Great Portland Street. So it's just a short walk from Oxford Circus tube station. So it's definitely worth, if you're coming down to London for the day, there's lots of really great bars nearby. The London Cocktail Club has got a great range of alcohol-free drinks. Come and meet some friends, go and have some nice food, come and spend a couple of hours in the shop, try lots of different drinks, make it a day out if you want to, and do come and see us.
You do realise you're going to want to carry this on because you're not going to want to close. I mean, for goodness sake, it's got to be all year round, surely.
Janey, I can't afford full-time rent in Oxford Circus.
No, that's true. That's true. But wouldn't it be nice? I think maybe some of the drinks brands should club together and keep you open, because actually that's what we need, isn't it? We need that all year round. I mean, for God's sake, in lockdown, the off licenses were left open. I mean, this is what we actually need, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it will be a really interesting experiment.
Yeah.
And I think it would be really great to see how people receive it. And, we're going through difficult times. And so we hope to bring a little bit of ray of joy to everybody and a place that you can feel safe and spend some time in.
Yeah, brilliant. Laura Willoughby, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Can't wait to come down and check it out.
I'm looking forward to seeing you, Janey. All right.
Thank you, Laura. So we'll put the link to where you can find the pop-up shop and the events that I end up doing. I'm going to end up doing something at the pop-up shop with members from Sober Club, I'm sure. So we'll put that all on the soberclub.com and in the show notes. Just a fantastic initiative. Don't forget, if you want tips and advice on how you can prep for your sober Christmas, there is so much information at the Sober Club. I've got a great recipe for alcohol-free mulled wine, which is always a fabulous one, as we said with Laura, and so many other tips and ideas of how you can just focus on optimum self-care and optimum well-being for you. You've probably heard me say I haven't done a single thing towards Christmas. I haven't bought a gift. I haven't done anything. And that's not ideal, because I've got 4 kids, so they're not going to be very impressed. So I really do need to get my act together. Anyways, there's still time, right? There's still time. So I look forward to seeing you same time next week. Don't forget, reach out if you're struggling. Always, always, always reach out. As one of my Sober Club members said, I am the emergency service. Please, I can't handle that. But yeah, do reach out. There is so much help available. You remember Alcohol Change UK have got some fantastic advice and help. There's so much you can do if you're struggling. Don't do this on your own. Get connected. It's just critical. Come and join us in the Sober Club. You can join us for a month and leave if you don't like it. And there are loads of other groups. Of course there are, if this one doesn't resonate with you. And just make sure you focus on just taking care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. What I see so often is when people start to get into a bit of a funk, they retreat within themselves and all they can hear are the negative voices in their own head. And as my guest, Cheryl Rickman said a few weeks ago on the podcast, we have to listen to our own thoughts and learn to recognize what's true and what isn't true. And the majority of the stuff that comes in from that inner critic, the majority of the negativity just isn't actually true. It's just a limiting belief. It's just something we've picked up. It's just some piece of negativity or some insult that we say to ourselves that we probably would never say to anyone else. Seriously, we're really unkind to ourselves most of the time. So when those thoughts come in, notice them. And then Cheryl's fabulous phrase, credit where credit's due. Take your thoughts to court. Take them to your own inner committee. She calls it the shitty committee. Take your thoughts to the shitty committee and say, what is going on here? Is this true? Is this actually true? And then change that thought, reframe it, turn it into something positive, because there's always a positive to be thought about, right? There's got to be a way of thinking positive. And if you can't think of a way, then come and join us in the Sober Club and we'll love bomb you, because that's what we do best. I'll see you same time next week. You know where to find me across social media at Janey Lee Grace. And yeah, you can find me everywhere. Oh, and by the end of next week, by the way, I can't tell you about this because I'm not allowed to tell you till it's out. But anyways, I'll tell you next week. There's a little TV thing coming out, which is quite fun. See you next time. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.